Hi, this is Matt with the Intergalactic Herald, just doing my StarOS Week in Review podcast. This is episode number 34. I may have mentioned on the last podcast I might not be here this weekend, but personal plans have changed, and so that's been postponed another week, so may or may not have a podcast next week. Anyways, moving on to the actual content. So if you're interested in any of the things I mentioned here, please do check out the website, intergalacticherald.com, and sign up for the weekly news recap. The one in question for this podcast is news recap number 83. So you can find that on intergalacticherald.com. Additionally, if you'd like to be a podcast guest, either for an interview, say you're a StarOS builder or another content creator, or you're a community member and you just want to talk about the week in review, love to have additional people on here. Again, it's one of my goals, but much like everything, other things take precedent, i.e. family, business, sickness, but we'll see, even though it's already October, hopefully sometime. And then getting to the content, just wanted to again remind you of my two projects I'm working on within the StarOS ecosystem. One is my merch store, so intergalacticgear.com. Please check that out. Right now it's just a merch survey. Curious to find out what people are interested in. So I really appreciate anyone filling that survey out. It really helps. And then the second one is my, what I'm calling a non-guild guild or unaligned coalition. Again, they're just words. But basically, it's a place where StarOS gamers who, again, are just solo gamers, just want to play, not really interested in joining a guild, but still want to hang out, find the Discord a little too disorganized, can't keep up with things. So please go to intergalacticcoalition.com, and I have an interest survey there where you can fill out. This is a paid community, so part of the cost is to offset the price of the platform. Discord is fine, nothing wrong with it, but it's based on chat. This one is more based upon threaded discussions and email alerts and things like that, so you can kind of come and go as it fits your timing of your life and things you're working on, but yet not totally feel lost if you come in there. So that platform costs money, plus also pays a little bit of my time to help maintain it, be the, I guess, community manager / leader, things like that. So anyways, intergalacticcoalition.com. So let's get into the content of this podcast, some of the things that happened this past week in Star Atlas. So the first one, and I don't know, maybe I missed the announcement, but the Never Alone quests have popped up that are related to Sage Labs. Again, I just missed an announcement. So it seems like there's a few more there, obviously, or interesting as, of course, I noticed them and I looked at the leaderboard. Probably tons of people already knew they were there and finished everything. So, but there's some Sage Labs focused ones now, like scanning for SDUs and crafting and subwarping. So that's cool that one's coming back. Bigger picture, I haven't heard again when this one, I guess we're on mission 2. I thought there was 3 or 4 mission. Again, reduction in staffing and delays in getting whatever version of Sage. Anyway, it's fine. It's cool. So I'm going through a couple of those. Another thing to point out, really want to highlight the Metaverse Nomads this past. They always have their live stream on Sunday. Well, it's Sunday morning for me, but sometime. And they've been doing a great series of team interviews. Last weekend I was busy, so I wasn't able to listen to it. So I just recently caught up on it, and they were interviewing Santi, the community director of community. Apologize if I don't get everybody's titles and names right. But anyways, it was really great. They've had the Chipto, I can't keep all the names / titles. But anyways, the head of game design, head of economics, Chris, maybe it's a lot of C's, and now Santi. And it was really cool learning about some of the background on how the community team's organized, what they're working on, philosophy. Again, it was really great, and I would really want to highlight the content creators that do have access to the team and can get them on for interviews, because I think that's really great to see that and have that. But kind of building upon that, StarOS themselves, community manager Dominic, actually started a new YouTube series that was interviewing the teams. And this one was the chief product officer, co-founder, Danny Lloyd, I think, who's Buntius. Again, I need a chart of everybody's names and username. Anyways, again, I should know, but again, I just doesn't go in the memory banks. Anyways, it was a great interview. Highly recommend. And again, it's in my news recap. Same with the Metaverse Nomads one. But it was great. He's semi in the Foundation Room, but I haven't heard him on any other podcasts definitely not a public facing. But again, it kind of was talking about his role within the company as a co-founder. Didn't realize his brother is the other co-founder, I think the chief technical officer. And then, of course, Michael Wagner, the CEO, who's obviously much more of the public face. But it was, again, very fascinating hearing his history, his game development background, where he worked, but also just some of the philosophy. And again, he's got an art background. I thought I heard him say he was going to be like a, not a musician, but like a, I don't want to say opera singer. I apologize if that's not the right. Anyways, a singer, a professional singer. And it's like, whoa, those game design and professional singers. Again, I don't know if it's anyways, it's just cool hearing about people because you get little tidbits. But again, it was a fascinating interview, and I really hope Star Atlas, the team, continues to interview other team members, other parts. I think, again, those are all really great ways to both humanize the business, but also give some background and names and faces and experience to people, as opposed to just, small little Discord replies or anyways, I think it's great. So the other big content thing that came out this week is the regular brews, the Atlas brews. And this one was, I think, titled Sage, Future of Sage or whatever. So most of it was Michael Wagner, CEO, talking, but it was an interview format with the three regular hosts asking questions. So a couple of interesting details that came out of that. One is that it's, quote unquote, highly likely that Sage Labs, the product we see, is going to be going away. And again, this has been mentioned in passing, but again, this feels much more like, okay, now we have a pattern. But what was interesting was that the next version of Sage, I think Starbase, but again, I've said this before. There's somebody in the Star Atlas team that's really great with acronyms and coming up with phrases like SCORE and Scream and REC and all this stuff. But and again, maybe goes something back to that the Danny and the Star Atlas review mentioned is that, again, they're developing products. And those products are going to constantly be evolving, but the products are in different styles or formats. So again, the browser-based game, which we call Sage, but it's just, let's call it the browser-based game, just like there'll be a mobile app, just like there's the UE5. And again, we have words for them, but those words change or morph. Anyways, where I was going with all this is to say there's a new interface for the browser-based game. That makes perfect sense because we know that Sage Labs was never an intended published product they wanted to get out. It was always the 3D experience in the web browser. So it sounds like, according to the Atlas Brew, that they're trying to get it to be the same feature set as what current Sage Labs is, to be whatever this next thing. Again, I think it's Sage Star-based. And once they have the equivalent features, there'd be no reason to keep around the old interface. I mean, that makes perfect sense. Plus, there was previous information mentioned that the way the star base is, the actual objects being fully, all the crafting things and levels and stuff like that, that isn't a progression thing. So they kind of have to strip those out. So and then the players will build up the star bases as part of game loops. Again, all makes sense. So if Sage Labs, the product, has to go away to allow for that foundation. I thought at one point Sage Labs was that foundation, but again, give the team tons of flexibility on releasing things, changing them. Anyways, so I guess just as a quick aside, it means I was thinking about doing a how-to guide for Sage Labs, but seems like that would be just wasted effort, just like why I didn't do one for Escape Velocity. So the other thing that came out of the Atlas Brew was that definitely character progression is in the pipeline, and that makes, I guess, a lot of sense. Again, I may have mentioned before, I haven't been really I haven't played any MMOs like World of Warcraft, but level 60 and WoW, yeah, I've heard about that. So I see that as very important, that we have profiles obviously tied to our wallets, our blockchain stuff, and then we progress forward on that. So again, that makes great sense that that's coming. Again, it was also talked about, again, the tools and automation. I think I might have mentioned a whole bunch of stuff, my thoughts on it last podcast. But again, it was there. And I think the key point that I keep hearing more frequently enough, and it makes sense, is that there's nothing wrong with an automation tool. It just needs to be open up to everyone. I like that philosophy, but I also think it doesn't incentivize creation. If you open it up, and again, I have no problems with open source. I mean, I run some of my business on WordPress, which is open source. The team has released tools to build tools, but again, I won't rehash what I said last podcast. But again, if you release the tools to build the tools, and then say you have to release it for free or open to everyone, then the incentive there, where the whole game is about economic gains. So again, we may just be in that early phase of trying to figure all this stuff out. But again, the idea was that clarifying more what tool automations are, things that the team is maybe not endorsing yet, but definitely not restricting. So, and I mentioned before, again, it was brought up again and made very clear about there's basically 3 products that the StarOS team is trying to create, and those are all based off of the blockchain. So again, you can go between all of them. So again, browser-based, UE5, and then the mobile app. Oh, and again, it was interesting mentioned, because I kind of harped on I need to get a new video card to play the showroom, but not everybody's going to be able to buy a PC gaming computer. I just need a video card. I still got the rest of the computer, but you add all it up, and these are high barriers to entry, hence why console games and console gamers, it's easy to just buy a console and plug it in your TV. Everybody's got a TV. But again, the idea that the browser product is for those who can't play the UE5. And again, I think that's great to allow a lot of different target audiences to come in. And then the last thing was mentioned, I think it builded upon what was mentioned in the StarOS interview with Chief Product Officer, was the idea of skin creation. And I guess I've heard about this so far, got a couple of the skins in mind. But what was really interesting was the mechanics. I hadn't heard of it before, but the idea was that artists will be able to make skins. So an artist can come in, make a skin, design it. So again, the team will release a tool, a skin generation tool for the ships. Artists can learn how to use that. And then to build the skin, you will need to have resources. Probably not the ones we're doing within Sage Labs now, because thinking they are paint or I don't know. Maybe who knows what the resources are. But the idea is that then you'll have a design. You could sell the design, but it requires the resources. You go out and mine them, and then you can have your own skin. So what was really fascinating was, again, I can't remember which of the 2 sessions it came out of, was that one, people could sell a skin, so there's an economic loop that people can sell things in the game. But that unlike other games that sell skins as part of their microtransaction system, that the team is really not involved with this, but yet obviously resources and transaction fees and all that, I mean, they get a small cut. And again, I'm sure that, of course, it's on the marketplace, so there's all those fees that go on there. So anyways, that was really cool, and I hadn't really thought about it that way, but it's like, yeah, that would be kind of cool, and maybe a little less, I don't know, in the normal games when I've heard, you buy hats, and I'm like, why would I buy a hat? I don't know. Again, maybe I'm just not a fashion person. Anyways, that was really cool. So the other thing that came up late in the week was the foundation room was changed in the Discord. And so there were some new requirements to make it gated. So there was I think 3 new requirements. One was Polis, but again, I was confused. Is it Polis? And then it's Polis voting shares, PVP. And I don't think that's a one-to-one energy. Anyways, it was 80,000, which if it was just straight Polis, that's a crazy amount of money. The other was level in Discord, and the third was, I think, access through the Zealy Never Alone theme. So that was what was announced. However, and this is where I get in kind of in a little whatever, so I'm going to go off on a quick soapbox rant, whatever. I have questions, but once, so I was always a member of the Foundation Room. I paid the Discord boost, whatever it's called, Nitro, whatever. So I think it was $5, and I got my access to the Foundation Room. So now there's new requirements. And again, I have no problems if the team wants to change access. Absolutely no problems. That is definitely in their prerogative to do that. But I can't say any more because of rule changes, but the rules are gated, so I can't tell you what the rules are. Again, this is weird. So here's what I can say. The rules have changed after years of precedent, both how to get in and what you can do when you're in. Again, I have no problems with the team doing this, but again, I have to admit, it came out I read it last night, thought about this morning, now later this afternoon I'm writing, and I'm like, I don't know why this is bugging me. But anyways, so, sorry, I'm reading my notes to make sure I don't get in trouble. So much of the content that is communicated by the team is now, quote, gated. But I can't explain what the rules are because the rules are gated. Okay, moving on. I've been mentioning and why I wanted to start my Intergalactic Coalition, my paid communities. I don't know. I find Discord just, again, really, really terrible to keep up and whatever. And I was really liking the Foundation Room because usually there's less messages, a lot more specific information from the team. It was cool. And again, barrier to entry, quite small, $5 a month or whatever. But maybe the thing I was thinking of this morning, and again, I haven't went back into the Foundation Room today to read anything, is, again, just how this affects content creators. And kind of got me thinking again, even though the content I've created up to this point has been like my weekly recaps, which again is just curation. I'm not making content, I'm just putting them all together in an email list. The how-to guides, yeah, I guess that's content. But again, I've stopped doing it because there's nothing stable on the product. Again, Escape Velocity I didn't want to do. Sage Labs is off the table now. Showroom is the same, so there's nothing to how to. All my crypto, how to get into it, buy a ship, all that, marketplace, all that's still the same. So that's there. But I really feel bad for the other content creators that I read their content and put it in things. So Siggy, for example, does tons of great tweets. I don't know if he can keep publishing all that information. Ramega does an alpha of what's in Discord. I just don't think that can happen anymore. Metaverse Nomads usually have their segment at the end about Star Atlas. I don't know if that's all public stuff. Again, I've never thought or kept in my mind, well, where did the content come from? And then Afia's newsletter from Fronthacker. I mean, sometimes I learn stuff in his newsletter I don't think I've ever read anywhere else. So going forward, it seems like the only thing that could be, and again, so maybe we're off the Foundation Room thing again, because I don't technically have a problem with gated stuff. Again, I'm trying to create a community that's not gated, but it has a price point. So I don't want to be hypocritical. They can do whatever they want. But I guess, okay, so this is the soapbox part. No problem having the Foundation Room with the new requirements for entrance. That's fine. Here's where maybe I have the problem, is going forward, all that can be shared are from official Star Atlas. Going forward, I'm wondering about content creation because I enjoy reading it myself. And I guess with this podcast, I'm a content creator. So in Star Atlas, so I should just say, no big deal. I mean, that's who I am. I have fun doing this and I'm going to do more of it. So going forward, that all that can be shared are from the official Star Atlas channels like the Atlas Brute, which are great. Once a week, lots of content is provided there. Anything in Discord announcements, but I'll admit I'm not going to read general chat and the economics and governance. It's just too much stuff. And a few tweets or X's or whatever we're calling the thing now. But with the staffing reduction, it sure feels like, a lot of outreach, PR, marketing, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I don't think there's been a post on Instagram. Facebook's gone. Again, a little better on the YouTube channel with this first interview, but prior to that, hardly anything. Everything was in Discord. So I guess my thought is that Star Atlas team really needs to step up with their public communications. Again, this interview thing's good, but if the Foundation Room content is different, because I can't say how different it is, anyways, I guess to me, this is just a missed opportunity. I think content creators have been putting a lot of time, their time, my time, into helping to promote through multiple channels, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, podcast, Medium. Yeah, I guess that's where I see most of this content. And it's basically free PR, it's free marketing. And the team now has taken the main source of a lot of that. Again, when a content creator can get an interview with a team member, that's awesome. Again, they also usually share a lot. That's great. But there's only so many content creators that have that access and can get access to have people on his interviews. So again, I guess I'll just constructive criticism. I think it's a missed opportunity. I really think, personally, part of me just doesn't like change. Sorry. I've been enjoying what we've had, and it's been for years. And so, again, who knows? We'll see. And again, maybe this is just reactionary, but I've actually caught myself when writing up my little talking points and stuff, and I have to put a big little thing, don't share anything from the foundation room. I'm thinking I need to just not read it. And I kind of enjoyed reading it, but I don't have enough brain power with everything else going on in my life to remember where I heard something or didn't. So if another content creator says something, well, that's their problem. So box over. Moving on, kind of last big topic I wanted to hit on, because a few of the other content creators have been talking about it for the last couple of weeks, is this whole concept of small players. And again, I'm not sure what we're defining as small players, but we have this other term that gets used quite frequently, the whales. And I'm not a whale, and most of the content creators don't seem like whales. So I guess I was starting to realize more and more how things do seem to be quite slanted toward big ships, hence money, hence whales. Now, again, I have no problems with that. The game has to do it. Pretty sure it was mentioned that, again, that this is a crowd-funded game. Yeah, that was in, I think, Danny's interview. They weren't developing the game in secret for 7 years. Obviously not secret, but just not public. Hence, they would have already had funding. They released the thing and then got funding that way. So all Kickstarter crowdfunding. So it makes sense. You got to sell big stuff. It also does stand toward the guilds, because whales want to, well, I don't know if whales want to be in them, but again, you're combining resources. So the guilds have more opportunities. And I'm sure it was mentioned in one of the two, Atlas Brew or Danny's interview, that the game's not done. This isn't the final product. And again, like I had mentioned, that, hey, you don't need a video card, you can play the browser game. And obviously, if there's a mobile app, that's got a much lower barrier to entry, as past things have said. I mean, you won't have to set up a wallet or buy anything. You just walk around and level up, and eventually you could turn it into an NFT. So again, I think there's the grand vision for multiple play styles is all there. And so this may just be reaction to today. And even I just started listening to one of Metaverse Explorers one, and he was mentioning how he wasn't really into Sage Labs, which I have stated too. I'm just not there. But anyways, going back to this idea of the small player. And I realized, I think for comparison sakes, to me, let's compare it to the average console gamer. Because again, maybe someday Starhouse is on a console, who knows? But traditionally, PC gaming and console gaming have been, the two different groups. But no one has a problem paying $60 to enjoy a console game. Again, there's tons of extra expectations. Of course, you have to have a console, etc. It doesn't matter. But let's just throw the $60 price point out. With $60, yeah, even today, even at retail, I don't know what they call it, origination prices, you can still buy, one or two ships. Obviously, you can buy some resources, but can you do much with it? And I know Atlas Theory and Beyond Horizon were going to do a Zero to Hero, small ships. I'm not really sure where that's gone forward, but I think it's a great concept. So, maybe the stuff that's out right now just doesn't fit that $60 gamer where they can do a lot. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. I don't know. Still haven't been able to get my teenage son back into it, but partly because I'm not into it. So I had some things I could share, but I can't because they were in the foundation room. So moving on. Sorry. Yeah, I guess it bugs me. I just definitely hope that the game will grow, even though it's really seems hard that there's a larger money barrier that's out there. And again, we may be just in really early. I think Danny mentioned in his interview that he was mentioning how you don't even need a wallet. And I was like, what? Of course you need a wallet. And then I remembered, no, in the showroom, they had to make it where you could build your own wallet, which everybody says, this is terrible. But remember, you need a wallet to play the game. You don't necessarily need to care about that wallet unless you're interested in everything. And I think, again, this came up on the fitness app too. You can do something, but it won't actually be an NFT until you make it. And so, again, I'm giving the team a ton of credit for this barrier to entry problem. We just haven't seen it yet because, again, the people that are in there are the ones that bought the original ships and the posters and all that stuff, and they were crypto first. But again, to me anyways, a crypto first attitude will never make this game go mainstream. Crypto won't go mainstream because of that. And again, I don't want to get into a big philosophical debate. That's just my opinion. Everything we need, we already have. I don't need centralized banking. I have a bank. Anyways, again, that's not the point. Sorry. That there does seem to be things like the fitness app, like the browser game, and then again, like the UE showroom, will have a wallet built for you. So again, I think there is ways to get over that. There is also obviously small ship prices. You still buy a ship for that kind of $60 price point. A lot of talk of what you'll do in the showroom is about racing. So again, you don't need a ton of ships. So I was starting to realize more and more, I mean, maybe Sage Labs in that aspect, though, I think Michael Wagner on the Atlas Brew said, yeah, that's the RTS version, which again, I mentioned before, I like the RTS style, that going forward, that things will work out in the end. So, game's not done yet. We'll see where things go. But I do hope, I guess I'm getting to the point where that's the next step I'm more interested in. I'm not really like another expansion of Sage, sure, maybe. But anyways, and again, maybe this is just part of, and again, Metaverse Explorer mentioned it too, and I think a couple of the other contenters, just not the style of games that we individually are interested in. But again, remember, the game's got a very broad possibility, hence a lot of different game styles. And again, if we're really developing a metaverse, again, an artist can make ship skins. Okay, I mean, that artist would care less about crafting and things like. Anyways, so I just again constantly want to keep thinking about the small player, because I guess I kind of consider myself that, or I guess what's a medium player and what's a whale. I mean, again, just all these different, maybe my marketing hat, trying to figure out what the target audience is. And of course, there could be many targeted audiences. Okay, anyways, I'm off of that. So last point to just kind of wrap up this podcast, just wanted to, again, kind of have my strategy, what I'm working on, what I'm doing in Star Atlas. And I didn't actually play Sage Labs this week, and I didn't miss it. It was too distracting for me personally with all the things going on in my life. I was also a little sick. But I did start the Zealy quests, and I have to admit, even though I complained about score, I complained a little bit about Zealy in my mind, the fixed purpose, the goal, like scan subwarp 50 times, 10 SDUs, craft 1,000 things, was perfect. It was enough. There was a goal. It was self-contained. I can figure out what to do when. Yeah, I enjoyed that part. So, we'll do that. Still waiting to figure out what I'm going to do on my 2 crafting goals. The Max Hog and the Land Tier 0. SDU prices seems to have stabilized a little bit, but just like Pathfinder mentioned on his podcast, don't forget to check the marketplace, because the amount of time and effort and resources you would spend, because again, there's lots of Atlas transactions, thing you're trying to craft in Sage Labs may be actually cheaper. And I think he calculated, whichever one he was looking at, that it was cheaper just to buy it outright than to do anything. Again, it's not a fault of the game. It's just more of a, that's weird. So still waiting to decide what to do on that. And I don't have a plan yet. Like, when it hits this price, I'll buy the SDUs and then craft the thing. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, there's still, I feel like we're kind of, to wrap this up, I kind of feel like we're in kind of a slow period. There was all the pressure to get Sage Labs out, took longer. The uproar about the playtesting comes out, all the bugs, and those have been now resolved. People are playing. We have better discussions about automation and what's next. And I'm looking at the calendar, and U.S. holidays are coming up. The team is human. Oh, I guess the big one, and again, maybe that's why it's quiet. There is the big Breakpoint Solana conference coming up, and I think it was asked at the Atlas Brew that, obviously they're going to release stuff because they get it. And they're going to talk about a lot of stuff because they get a keynote speech, and so you don't just say, we're doing things. You say what we're going to do. So that might be, again, why we're in a really quiet point waiting for that event to occur, and then we'll see if, again, anything's slated for release before holidays and things like that, because I think historically the team has taken a pretty decent break around the winter holidays. So anyways, That's it. That's me. That's what was on my mind for the last week. So again, if you're interested in being a guest and chatting with me or venting with me or just talking about the week in review, again, please go to intergalacticherald.com, look for the contact page, submit something there. While you're there, please sign up for my weekly news recap of all the Star Atlas news, all the other curating all the other Star Atlas content creators and what they've been putting out. So you can sign up for that and get it delivered to your mailbox once a week. And then again, if you're interested in the 2 projects I'm working on, I'd love to get some feedback from people. So again, if you're looking hopefully someday to maybe purchase some Star Atlas merchandise, I have intergalacticgear.com. Please fill out my merch survey. And if you're interested in a different kind of guild experience, community to hang out with, again, maybe solo Star Atlas gamers, maybe people with small fleets, and talk strategy and stuff and come and go and not feel like you're lost out in conversations, please go to intergalacticcoalition.com and fill out the interest survey. And that's a wrap for me. Thanks for listening and have a great week ahead.